What's up, everybody? It's your girl Jasmine Ray, aka She Have It All, and we are back with another video, guys. Y'all already know what it is. It is part 2, and we are on the case. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. This is my piano, y'all. That's what I'm doing. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Okay. Unsolved, y'all. First of all, I don't even know if y'all heard that, but Sideline Mom, we have Sideline Mom in the building, y'all. You already know she's a detective working on a case. Excuse me. And hey, Mom, I'm just okay. And then we already know we have Mariah Blue on Zoom again right over here.
Hey y'all, if y'all can hear me, what's up?
Oh no, they can hear you, girl, because we heard you in the last one, and then you got you even closer to the camera this time, so they should be able to hear you.
Hey y'all.
Hey, because I didn't hear you that loudly.
Yeah, probably because of the phone. I got it all the way up though. Yes, y'all. So we are back on the unsolved case file of Harmony Ashcroft. Okay. So today, if you have not watched the last video, go watch it now. Part 1 of us opening this case, getting into the details of what went on with Harmony, what we know so far. She was murdered. We're trying to go over our persons of interest. So, yes. So the part 1, if you haven't watched part 1, go watch it now. Because in this video, we are actually going to discuss the persons of interest. We already discussed her fiance, okay, who was a person of interest, the one who left her in the parking lot, so he would have been the one to have seen her last. You know, he would have been the one to see her last. His picture is on my wall, but all right. And we also already discussed Bones, who was our suspect. He actually was arrested for the murder of Harmony already.
Right.
So we discussed Bones. So, I don't know if this gets even more juicy. Juicy, y'all, because we have 3 other persons of interest in this case. Huh? Now, how is that possible? We have
a hot tamale.
A hot tamale. Well, we could assume these are 3 other men that could be potentially responsible for the death of Harmony. We have Rex Ratliff.
Okay.
We have Andy Allen.
All right.
And we have Derek Silvers. Derek Silvers. Derek. You gotta say it like that. It ain't Derek without Derek. You know what I mean? And we have Derek Silvers. So basically, y'all, in this video, we are going to go over our other prime suspects. So, you know, we've been waiting. Let's get into it. We're going to start off with the Rex Ratliff, since that's where we was at. Let's go back in the order we was in. So we're going to start with Rex Ratliff, guys. That was this guy here. I'm going to just poach him up on a bosom. So you guys can see, because I don't have my little board. All right, let's get into it. He is a person of interest. Let's see why. Let's see what he did to my girl Harmony. Yeah, I can see, mamas. I got you. Okay, so he is a male, age 25, race white, ethnicity white. Height is 5'9", weighs 225 pounds. No scars, no tattoos, no prior military. He does not own a firearm. He does not have any prior felonies. And he has no prior arrests. His occupation is janitor. He's in the helping community. All right, so we have a witness statement here. I believe this is from Mr. Ratliff. Let's see. Oh, no. This is from Cheryl Pratt. Okay. So this witness statement is from a Cheryl Pratt. Which, if we were paying attention to the case a little earlier on, I believe Cheryl Pratt was mentioned as the office manager.
Yes, she was.
Okay, so let's get into what Miss Pratt had to say about in her witness statement. Okay, I have had contact with Rex Ratliff in my job as office manager of Helping Hands Mental Health Clinic. I can vividly remember his face and that look on his face. I would describe his look as predatory. And forgive me, y'all. This is in cursive. It's real fancy, so that's why I'm like, a little dicey in this one. Okay. Our first contact took place when he made his first call to the clinic. I don't recall the exact date. My memory of talking to him was that he made me uncomfortable. We obviously have many clients who suffer a wide range of mental health problems, but Mr. Ratliff seemed to be on edge more than most. Mr. Ratliff began by telling me a few basic things about his mental health state. He mentioned that he was feeling depressed and lonely, but he seemed uncomfortable about sharing more specific details. He mentioned that he needed to see Harmony. At this time, I told him that Harmony was a child psychologist and that he was free to set up an appointment with Dr. Breeson, the other psychologist in our clinic. The other psychologist in our clinic. He immediately became irate. I then tried to work with him on a few other options. I mentioned that I could possibly refer him to another clinic, but once again this made him upset. He told me that it was important that he see Harmony before it was too late. I then asked what he meant by that, and he hung up.
Really? Before it's too late?
Yeah. Oh, wow. It's a whole nother side. Okay, let's try to get through this. Approximately 30 minutes later, he showed up at the clinic. Although he did not immediately identify himself, I knew it was him. At this time, he angrily approached the desk, demanding to see Harmony. He was now becoming loud and disruptive. Dr. Breeson came out of his office saying, Is this man causing a problem? Once Dr. Breeson appeared, Mr. Ratliff seemed to calm down a little, so I said, no, everything is fine. At this point in time, Mr. Ratliff no longer seemed to be a threat. Mr. Ratliff then said something like, I'm sorry to cause any problems, but I really need help, and I need it from Harmony. After I explained to him that this was not possible, he turned and left. Dr. Breeson and I watched him as he left the clinic. I seem to recall Dr. Breeson giving me a shoulder shrug or some kind of sympathetic gesture. I think he then said, I guess that's the end of that. But the calls kept coming. Once again, I tried to suggest that he see another therapist, but he was very intent that he see Harmony and only Harmony. She needs to see me, was all he would say. He kept calling all the time for the past few weeks. I asked our phone company to fax a report of all the calls we got from him, and they were increasing almost every day. There was another incident that took place in the parking lot on the day of the murder. Someone in the parking lot reported a car coming by and a man screaming from the car. At this time, I was not comfortable driving home on my own. After calling the police to report the incident, I called a friend to pick me up. Okay. So that was basically Cheryl Pratt, the office manager, giving her statement about how uncomfortable she felt about Mr. Ratliff when she encountered him and also when she spoke to him on the phone.
Well, he's certainly a suspect. I don't know.
Yeah, because what was that about,
Yeah, that was kind of...
Seems like you want to tell her something right now.
Yeah, he said, I need to speak to her before it's too late.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A little fishy.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah.
There's some holes there that we can question some things. Okay, So this is the interview with Mr. Ratliff and a detective. Okay? Detective, good morning. Please state your name for our records. Mr. Ratliff. Rex Ratliff. Why am I here? Detective, okay, Ratliff. Were you born on the 14th of March, 1973? Ratliff, are you going to tell me what's going on? Yeah, that's my birthday. Detective, Ratliff, what did you do for a living? Ratliff, I work at a gym. I mop and stuff. Clean up. What do you want from me? Detective, the woman who was murdered Friday night, Harmony Ashcroft, how did you know her? Mr. Ratliff. I didn't. Detective, well, why would anybody think you did? Suspect remains silent. Detective, I need a verbal reply, Ratliff. The microphone can't record a shoulder shrug. Ratliff, I don't know why I'm here. Detective, bad plan, Ratliff. Here's the thing. I know why you're a suspect, and you know why you're a suspect. You know who else knows why you're a suspect? Ratliff, no. Detective, the name Cheryl Pratt ring a bell? Ratliff, no. Detective, well, she has a pretty good idea of who you are. She's the office manager at Helping Hands Mental Health Clinic. You're pretty familiar with that place, right? Ratliff, maybe. Detective, according to Miss Pratt, you've been calling several times a day demanding to see Harmony. Isn't that right? Ratliff, I don't know. Detective, was that right? Oh, what was that? Ratliff, it doesn't matter now, does it? Detective, because you killed her? Ratliff, no, because she's dead. I had to let her go. Detective, talk to me, Ratliff. Why did you need to call that place so many times? Do you need me to pull out the call log to remind you? Don't play stupid on me. Suspect remains silent. Detective, okay, here we go. April 27th, 5 calls. April 28th, 3 calls. April 29th, 3 more calls. And 3 more the next day. This starting to sound familiar to you? Ratliff, I was calling because I needed help. She's a therapist and I needed help. Is that illegal? I just wanted to see her before. Detective, before she got married? You couldn't let another man have your precious Harmony? Could you? Maybe it will jog your memory if we fast forward to the last few days before the murder. May 6th, 8 calls. May 7th, 9 calls. Ratliff, so I call her office. Don't make me a killer. Detective, it makes you a stalker though, doesn't it? May 8th, the day of the murder. You called 10 times, Ratliff. You called 10 times, but they wouldn't pick up, would they? I'm getting into this. Ratliff, I needed help. It was too late. I needed help. I needed help from Harmony. You wouldn't understand. It had to be her. You wouldn't understand. Detective, just say it, Ratliff. Say the words. Stop talking in riddles and just tell me you killed Harmony Ashcroft. Ratliff, no, I didn't hurt anybody. Detective, say it. You left work and went to the clinic. Ratliff, I needed help. I needed to stop the pain. Stop the voices. Detective, then you followed her to the restaurant. Ratliff, no. Detective, you waited in the parking lot outside Tully's, didn't you? Just waiting for your chance. How many hours were you hiding there, Ratliff? What was going through your mind? Ratliff, I didn't do. That's not what happened, Detective. When she walked out the back door, your moment arrived. Tell me, Ratliff, when her fiance left her all alone back there, did you try to talk to her first, or did you just attack her? Ratliff, no, it wasn't me. Detective, stop playing, Ratliff. We talked to Cheryl at the clinic. You're lying. Ratliff, stop. Stop yelling at me. I wasn't there. Detective, just say the words. Tell us what really happened and we can get on with this. You can get a lawyer, put together an instant plea, whatever you want. But this isn't helping you. All this lying, it's not helping you, Ratliff. You're not fooling me. Ratliff, it wasn't me. I needed her help. She's a therapist and I needed her help. Detective, I know you killed her, Ratliff. You can't hide behind all this psychotherapy bull. You could have found another therapist. We know you showed up to the clinic threatening her. Just tell me you did it. No more screaming. No more games. We'll help you. Ratliff, I tried to get help. I tried to make the voices stop. I saw Harmony in the brochure and I knew she could make my mother's voices stop. Detective, Ratliff, what happened that night? Talk to me. Ratliff, I told you already. I was at home the whole time. My mother was murdered on May 8th, 1978. My stepdad hit her in the face with a baseball bat. I found her. Look it up. You'll see. Harmony looked just like my mother, and I just had to hear her voice. Detective, you better hope it checks out. Is there anyone who can confirm you were at home? Ratliff, no, I was alone, Mr. McCoy. Maybe. I don't know. Detective, who's Mrs. McCoy? Ratliff, my landlady, lives under me. Detective, this isn't the time for guessing, Ratliff. Will your landlady confirm that you were at home all evening long? Yes or no? Ratliff, I don't think so. I don't know. Don't know how good her memory is. She's old. Detective, you better hope she can. Next time I bring you back here, I'm not going to be so nice. Woo! That was a lot, y'all.
Okay.
But we got through it. Okay, thoughts.
Evidence, I mean, it looks a little shaky, but he's not the killer.
Yeah, I do believe that he hears voices, and he's having a traumatized situation because his mother was killed, and he feels like a child. You know, he had voices in his head. It's kind of like, you know, he having his PTSD or whatever, and he just needed to hear her, needed someone to talk to, as like a child, you know, therapist or a psychologist, so that he can, you know, get better. That's what it sounds like right now.
Right.
You know?
Right. No, I'll definitely agree.
When he said before it's too late, I mean, I feel like, is that because he felt like he was going to kill himself if he don't talk to her? Or
Yeah.
did he say something to somebody?
No, I think it's even too late before it's too late for him. Before he do something to himself or to somebody else.
Right.
That's what I think.
What do you think, Jess?
Whew. I think that you guys are definitely right. I feel like after the interview, I do feel like he's struggling with PTSD, some sort of trauma that went on with him. It's definitely plausible that he could have been reaching out to her for help. It's definitely a possibility. So he's sounding like, you know, if his alibi checks out and all that, I mean, he was home. But if his landlady can confirm that he was home, I would say right now, okay, we can give him the benefit of that doubt. Okay, until we look a little bit deeper. But for right now, it sounds plausible.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if I should read all of this.
You gave me one earlier when we were out.
Oh,
Go to the next
y'all, we
suspect.
have the phone records.
Whose phone record?
We have the phone records of all the calls he made to the company to talk to Mrs. Harmony. Yeah, I'm so sorry I'm yawning, but I'm tired. Okay, so it looks like they have. We'll read this later. It pertains to Mr. Ratliff. It's another witness statement from a Lewis McCoy. We haven't been introduced to Lewis McCoy yet. Once we do, we'll go to his. We actually haven't been introduced to Cheryl Pratt yet either. But I don't want to be too winded for you guys, so we'll save Lewis McCoy's witness statement for when we come across Lewis McCoy. Is that fine with everybody, or should we?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, because it applies to Ratliff though. So okay. So let's move on to our next persons of interest, guys. All right. Next, we have a Andy Allen. He's our next person of interest.
Andy Allen?
Yes.
Oh, this is a new person here.
Yeah, we haven't heard about Andy Allen at all, actually. I haven't heard his name. I don't know if he's the stalker. We don't know what role Andy plays right now. Sorry, y'all. My little situation swollen. Okay, so we have this person of interest. His name is Andy Allen. Let's see. He's 28 years old. He's a male. He's 5'11", weighs 263 pounds. He's white. No prior arrests. Does not own a gun. No military experience. No tattoos. Doesn't own a firearm. Okay, he does have a car, a Hyundai Sonata Gray. That's on file.
You could just go over the suspects and end the video.
Yeah, I mean,
back up.
That's what I'm doing. So we on this one, and then we have one more suspect left. So let's go ahead. We're gonna go through the suspects, y'all. Okay, so what we have is, alrighty, Jason Peach. Oh, all right. So what I'm noticing here is that most of these statements are done by persons that we have not yet been introduced to, but just for the sake of getting to know him, I'm gonna try to skim through this one. Now this is from a Chad Highsmith, but I'll do the same thing. So we have 2 witness statements here, but I'll read the second one when we're introduced to that person. I'll just read one now so we can kind of get to know who this person is a little bit. Okay, so this is a witness statement from a Chad Highsmith. Okay, I have known Andy for about 3 years, and he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. I've never seen him violent or angry. When I heard about the murder, I wasn't sure what to think. I remember being disrupted by the news and surprised that this kind of thing would happen randomly. It immediately reminded me of something my father, a career police officer, said to me when I was a child. He said, most murders are really more about love than hate. At the time, I didn't understand what he meant by that, but as I have gotten older, I understand it more. Harmony's murder was a shock to everybody, even people like me who just knew her casually. She was so young and beautiful. I was aware of how close she and Andy were. I know they had been close friends since childhood, Little League, I think. Okay, so she known Andy since childhood. They were closer than we think. After her murder, I began to think about a few strange conversations I had with Andy. There was one occasion when we were joking about how hard it is to be just friends with a woman. At one point, he began staring off into the distance and said, I guess it can work out as long as you never fall in love. I laughed, but he didn't. I didn't even have to ask who he was talking about. He talked about Harmony a lot. It was apparent that he had strong feelings for her. After Harmony and Christian got engaged, Mommy falling asleep too. She done turned the light off.
I ain't asleep.
Silent Mom is going down, y'all.
I'm listening.
Okay, Mom, sorry. After Harmony and Kirsten got engaged, I recall Andy joking about how funny it would be if he got drunk at the rehearsal dinner and told her how he really felt. I could sense that this was something he was seriously considering. The subject was dropped immediately. A few days later, I believe it was a few days before the rehearsal dinner, I asked him if he wanted to come with me to my daughter's basketball game that night. I was actually trying to keep him from going to the rehearsal dinner. I didn't want him to embarrass himself and make things awkward for the wedding. But he made it clear that he really wanted to go to the party. The conversation ended there. On Monday morning after the murder, I offered my condolences to him at work. His eyes looked lifeless. I could tell he was distraught. I asked him what he saw at the party, but he told me that he couldn't go because he had to fix his brakes. I remember him saying something about how it took a while to do because he wasn't very experienced and had to borrow a tools to finish the job. And by that time, it was too late to go to the party. Then he told me about the phone call he got from Harmony's mother at 2 a.m. I can't even imagine how devastating this must be for him. The feeling might not have been mutual, but she was the love of his life, and I think he blames himself for what happened. Like he could have stopped it if he had been there. I've been thinking about Harmony and her fiance. I didn't know Christian that well, but I think it's possible that there was abuse. He was known to be kind of a jerk. I'm not sure what Harmony saw in him, to be honest. It then occurred to me that maybe Andy knew something about Harmony and her relationship with her fiance, which is why I called the tip line. That's why I called you guys. I was thinking you might get some helpful information out of him, but I know he's not the murderer. Even if he wasn't stuck at home fixing his car, Andy would never be able to do anything like this. He's probably the kindest guy I know, and he loved Harmony. Okay. Thoughts?
out that he's a friend for a long since they've been kids.
Right.
Okay. And you know, of course, being friends that long, she's young and beautiful. And you know, he looked away. I mean, you know, he's fine, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, she's young and beautiful and got this whole life, whatever. And she's about to marry someone else. I mean, there could have been a spark of jealousy. I mean, when the guy said when they were talking about it, and he said something. He didn't laugh about some part when. Oh, if you fell in love with her or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Only if you don't fall in love or something.
Right, and he didn't laugh. It seemed like, well, maybe because he did fall in love with her.
Right.
And now she's about to marry this jerk. He thinks he's the man that she's about to marry, Peter, right?
Yeah.
That he's a jerk, and she's about to marry this crazy guy. Doesn't give him a reason to kill her.
Right.
You know what I mean? But what stands out, I mean, it doesn't stand out, but, you know, he was working on his car or whatever. He couldn't make it. He said that he wasn't going to go. Then he said he was going to go. I guess he found out within some of the time that his car needs brakes. Mm-hmm. And he borrowed a tool. There was a blunt force. So this tool thing stands out to me.
Okay.
And the fact that somebody seen a car or whatever, and he has... Was he on the car? Yes, he has.
He is the one who has a car. Mm-hmm.
So right now he has the car and the tool. That's what I know.
Okay, yes, that's good that you picked up on about the whole tool thing, because I didn't even think that far yet as far as them glorifying that he had tools. Because they definitely did glorify that.
Do you agree, Sideline Mom?
Yes, I agree with everything you just said. My thoughts exactly. My same exact thoughts.
Oh, okay. We think so much alike.
Y'all, I ain't even gonna comment, okay? I ain't gonna comment at all. Alright, so let's hurry up, y'all. Let's get into this, the interview between Andy Allen, our person of interest, and the detective. Let's go. I was a little parched. Now, we'll be reading fast because I'm trying to get us through it. And as you can see, it's front and back.
Put my water over here.
Okay. So, detective, please state your name for the record. Andy Allen. Andrew James Allen. You can call me Andy. How can I help you with the case? Settle your ass down already.
He's
all right.
too gung-ho.
Yes.
Too gung-ho.
Settle down, lassie. Detective, what do you do for a living, Andy? Andy, I'm a paralegal at Wagner and Bennington Law Firm. Detective, how did you know the victim? Andy, we're friends, best friends since we were 6. She's like my sister. Detective, do you recall where you met? Andy, how is this relevant? Look, I want to help, and I know you have to question everybody to be thorough, but come on, what does this have to do with anything? You're wasting time. You should be talking to Christian. He got in a big argument with Harmony in front of everybody and stormed out of the party with her right before she was... ... We're questioning a number of people, Andy, and you happen to be one of them. Okay, wait a minute. Christian was the fiancé. Christian Peterson.
Okay, I would say that. Okay, Christian Peterson. I called him Peter. All right.
Yeah, his name. It was Christian. Let me confirm that.
Let me confirm.
Yes, Christian Peterson was the fiancé.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so he just basically mentioned him. Detective. Andy. Why? This is after the detective said they questioned everybody. Andy, why? Detective, let's go back to the question I asked you earlier. Andy, this is crazy. I'm a friend, not a suspect. My best friend was murdered and you have me locked up in this room? You're interrogating me. Detective, Andy, I understand you're agitated, but we have our reasons. Andy, but you have the murderer already, don't you? Detective, what makes you so sure about that? Andy, well, it sure as hell wasn't me. You have her jerk boyfriend Christian and the stalker guy Harmony was scared of, and then there's homeless guy with her ring. Detective, you seem awfully familiar with the details of the case. Andy, I watched the news and talked to just about everybody that was there in the past 48 hours. My best friend was murdered. I'm curious. Does that make me a killer? Detective, no, but the way you're talking to me right now seems a little suspicious. Suspect remains quiet. Alan, you're right. I'm sorry about that. I'm a little on edge. Know what I mean? Detective, yes, I think I do, Mr. Allen. Alan, Andy, I know you're just doing your job. Sorry, I want to help. How can I help? Detective, you didn't attend the engagement party, did you, Andy? Did you, Andy? I'm not going dry now. Andy, no, I didn't. Detective, why not? I thought you were her best friend since 6th grade. Andy, 6 years old. I was invited. I was planning to go, but had car trouble. Detective, what kind of car trouble? Andy, brakes. They've been acting up for a while, and I had new ones ready to put on, but just hadn't gotten around to it. Then on my way home from work on Friday, I almost got into an accident, and I knew I couldn't go back on the road like that. Detective, so you were planning to go to the party if it wasn't for your brakes? Andy, that's right. Detective, were you planning to say anything to Harmony in private at the party? Andy, what? Detective, are you in love with her? Andy, where are you going with this? Detective, I'm just asking questions. What was your plan that evening? Andy, I told you, I planned to go to the party. Detective, to do what? Andy, to wish her well. She was my best friend. Detective, did you have anything to tell her? Andy, you talked to Chad? Is that what this is all about? Look, I do love Harmony. I admit it. I've loved her since we played Little League 20 years ago. It's no secret that I love her. Everyone knows that except her, probably. But if that's a crime, you're going to have to look up half the guys in our class at Riverdale High, too. Detective, so you were nowhere near Tully's that evening. Andy, unfortunately, if I was there, I'm sure she'd be alive today. Detective, wasn't this party kind of a big deal for Harmony? Andy, what do you mean? Detective, rehearsal dinner, getting married. Seems like she'd really want you there. Andy, sure. Detective, and yet you didn't go? Andy, yeah, well, like I said, I had car trouble. Detective, and you couldn't find another way to get there. Andy, the car wasn't safe on the road, and I didn't want to ask for a ride. Detective, a cab or a bus? Something? You could have walked. Andy, all right, you know what? I didn't really want to be here. To be there. I wanted to be there for her, but it hurt, you know? She's too good for him. So when my brakes didn't work, it was the excuse I needed to stay home and get busy on something else. Detective, so you were fixing your car all by yourself. Very confident. Andy, ask Jason. He's my neighbor across the street. I had to borrow a wrench from him to finish the job. He'll confirm it. Ask him. Detective, and you couldn't find a way to get to Tully's with so much to tell her? Andy, I loved her. Do you understand that? I would never want to hurt her. She just didn't understand. Detective, didn't understand what? Andy, she was making a huge mistake with that jerk. She could do so much better. Detective, not anymore. Andy, I'm done talking here. Detective, I'm done with you too, Andy. I'll have someone take you home. End of that interview.
Okay. Well, let's see what that's showing. I mean, it's just, of course he felt like he wasn't, but everybody said that he was a jerk,
Yeah.
He had a little problem with his attitude or his anger issues. I don't know what he had, but yeah, but he said that he wasn't good enough for her. But this wrench is sticking out to me. I don't know why.
No, it is because they keep glorifying it. Why they keep saying, "Oh," and then he went to go borrow this tool.
Right.
Oh, y'all, I'm tripping. I'm just now noticing on the back of each person of interest, it's basically their alibi. So where they were at. So for Alan, we already heard a little bit about where he was at, but it says, I was at home fixing the brakes on my car all evening. I went to bed around 11 p.m., but at 2 a.m. I received a phone call from Deborah Ashcroft, Harmony's mother, and she explained to me that Harmony was murdered at the party. My neighbor Jason can confirm that. I was fixing my car when the crime happened. So he claimed that he was home alone fixing his car brakes. So, We already discussed how he definitely seems like a suspicious character, somebody that's worth looking into. Detective Mariah Blue pointed out this tool they done claim he done borrowed from somebody, and he's obviously been in love with Harmony since they were 6.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go, y'all. Our last person of interest. We have Derek Sivers. We have Derek Sivers. Not Silvers. Sivers. Here's Derek. It's definitely because of these lights, because she ain't even done. Mom, I'm almost there, okay? Hang in there. Okay, we have Derek Sivers. He is 37. I think he's the oldest of all of our persons of interest. He is a male. He is white. He is 5'11". He weighs 203 pounds, okay? He has tattoos, several tattoos on both arms. Prior military experience, he has 12 years in the military, and he has honorable discharge. Martial arts or combat experience, he has years of military combat training. He does own a firearm. He don't have any outstanding warrants, and he's never been convicted of any prior felonies. The one thing that he was arrested for was domestic violence. And he works at Walmart. All right, let's read his alibi. Now I know it's on the back of here. I was boating with Admiral Joseph Arthurson from around 8:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. We were together on the Ainsley River all night. We saw and heard a lot of first responding activity near Tully's around 9:30 p.m., but were unaware of what happened there until later. Whew, okay. So
that sounds like a whole lot of the suspects.
Yes, we got quite a few persons of interest here to priority custody. Okay, so here we got, like we already said, where's the picture at? Derek Sivers. He also has 2 statements here. I'm going to save one for our later video. We're going to just get into one to try to get a little bit feel for our character, for our person of interest here. Hold on, y'all. I'm just trying to see if one's shorter than the other. It is, but this is the one they have on top. So we're going to have to go with this one. Okay. Sorry about that. I want to make sure we're all on the right page. Okay, so this witness statement is from Chris Adams, okay? I confirm that this is the man I have seen several times at Helping Hands Mental Clinic. I have provided landscaping services at the clinic for about 2 years. I will estimate I knew Derek for 2 years. I seem to recall that we met when he was exiting the building and he noticed the Navy tattoo on my forearm. He mentioned that he was also a Navy man and was struck up a conversation about the difficulties of adjusting to life after leaving the Navy. I would see him after all that and we would talk. On a few occasions, we would just share a nod. I would say that he was generally in good spirits when I would see him at the clinic. But there was an occasion yesterday where I would describe his mood as irate. The incident began when I was in the parking lot. It was yesterday, May 8th, 1998. He had pulled up to the parking lot with an angry look on his face. I asked what he was doing there. I would usually only see him picking up or dropping off his son, but I had heard through the grapevine that he no longer shared custody of him. He proceeded to rant about how angry he was that he served his country and he can't believe the kind of disrespect he gets from civilians. He then began raising his voice and screaming. I tried to get him to calm down, but he kept screaming. When Mrs. Ashcroft came to the parking lot to get the car, he began screaming right at her, saying things like, "You have no right to keep me from my son. You will pay for this, young lady." She attempted to simply ignore him and leave, but I could tell she was scared. I had to admit I was a little afraid myself. I've had previous experience with vets who get involved in angry situations and it's never good. There was a look in Derek's eyes that I had seen before in other vets right before a breakdown. I don't know if he did it, but he sure looked like a man with a lot of rage and nothing to lose. That's all I know. So, like we said, he definitely seems like somebody who's going through something right now. Seems very hurt, confused, suffering from PTSD. Obviously, something probably triggered it. Maybe losing his son triggered it because this guy said that he always been so nice, but that one particular day that he showed up, he was just so mad. So I'm thinking maybe it had something to do with him, like, losing that custody. It probably triggered something in him or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. That's what it looks like. It's Rachel. This is the one who she had to go to court and...
Yeah, I believe so because it's a court order in here.
Okay. So, yeah, so he's Rachel and she helped with the fact that he don't have his son. With a rageful man like that, who's having a hard time in life after coming out of the Navy.
Yeah, he's looking for somebody to blame.
Yeah, ears will go up with that one.
Okay, so this is the interview between Derek Sivers and Detective. Alright? Detective, will you state your name for the record, sir? Sivers, Derek, Detective. Your full name, please? Derek. How about Chief Petty Officer Derek Edward Sivers? That full enough for you? You want me to provide my serial number and a full list of awards and decorations I've received during my years of service? Detective. In a bad mood, Derek? Derek. You can say that. Detective. Well, I think of... Sorry, let me get in light because I can't really see. Well, I could think of a way for you to get back to your day in a matter of minutes. You can start by explaining a few things. Derek, like what? Detective. You can start with a conversation you had with Harmony Ashcroft, a conversation that happened to take place just a few hours before she wound up dead. Would you like me to remind you? Suspect remains silent. Detective, according to reports, you said to the victim, you have no right to keep me from my son. You will pay for this. Son, sound familiar? Derek, maybe. Detective, sounds like you were pretty upset at the young lady. Derek, I wasn't pretty upset. I was pissed. She testified in court that I was an unfit father. Detective, I see. Derek, can you believe that? After everything I've done for this country, that's how I get treated? She just gives her opinion about something that's none of her business and the government takes away my son? Detective, so did she pay for it? Sivers, I'm sorry. Detective, what did you do to Harmony? Tell me. Here's this young, snotty lady doctor helping the court take your kids away from you. How did she pay for it? Derek, she didn't. Not by me, at least. You should start by making a list of all the families she's torn apart. Detective, really? So it was just a coincidence that you had this issue with her and she wound up dead later that same evening? Derek, coincidences happen. Detective, true. You know what else happens? Guys with a history of having a short fuse lose their cool and people get hurt. You ever see that? Derek, well, yeah, but... Sorry, y'all, trying to get through. Detective, this ever happened to you in the Navy? Derek, look, what happened in the Navy is not... Detective, answer the question, please. Did you ever lose your temper while in the Navy? Derek, I was a different guy then. Detective, I'll take that as a yes. Derek, I'm different now. No more drinking, no more fights, trying to keep my temper under control. Detective, what you do? Join a monastery after getting out of the Navy? Derek, like I said, I'm different now. Everything's different. Detective, that's all you got from me? You're different now? With all the potential trouble you're in, Derek, you're going to need more than that. I have to tell you that that's not enough. That's not enough heartwarming. How I turned my life around story. Derek, I'm better, okay. I'm better, okay. I'm better, okay. Okay, yeah. I'm better, okay. I'm traveling with a different crowd. I know what to do when my temper gets out of control. Detective, what did you do after the blow up at the clinic? Derek, I met up with a friend and went out on his boat in the Ansley River to get away from it all. Detective, excuse me? Derek, I went boating with a Navy buddy, an older guy, decorated war hero, the guy I wanted to be with when I signed up. Detective, and if we contacted Captain America, will he tell us about where you were on the night of Harmony's murder? Derek, that's admirable, not captain, Joseph Arthurson, 2 Purple Hearts, and he said I was with him on his boat. Just 2 guys letting off steam and sharing stories. We were 100% sober. Detective, sounds a real great guy. Sounds a real great guy. Maybe they say sounds like a real great guy, but that's what they say. This Benedict. Derek, the best. He do anything for a Navy brother. Detective, including lie under oath. Derek, oh, come on. Detective, isn't that the military code? Anything for a brother, death before dishonor, and all that? You cover for each other like nobody else would. Derek, all due respect, detective, you're out of your league. That's the kind of thing civilians don't know anything about. Detective, really? Let me introduce myself. Gunnery Sergeant Jack Montgomery Stason, United States Marine Corps. Suspect remains silent. We're all done for now, Chief Petty Officer Sivers. Don't leave town. I have a feeling we'll be in touch again after I have a chat with the Admiral. Yes. Y'all know what I mean. Stop playing, cuz. All right. Okay, so that was a lot. And then we have another statement from Admiral Joseph Arthurson, but we will read that later. So, real quick. It looks like we have a temporary order of custody in his file. A petition was filed by Meredith Young Sivers seeking sole custody of Chester Sivers, born on September 10th, 1986, as a modification of his court's prior order entered on June 8th, 1995. The matter having come on for an emergency hearing before me on May 6, 1998, at which time the petitioner appeared with her assigned attorney, their names, and a witness. The witness name has been concealed. The respondent appeared with Frank Esquire of Indiana, and the subject child was presented by Brian R. Dunger. After taking testimony from the parties and witnesses and based upon the findings made by this court on the record at the conclusion of the hearing, it is hereby ordered that the petitioner Meredith Young Sivers is granted sole legal and residential custody of Chester Sivers pending further order of this court, and it is further ordered that the respondent Derek J. Sivers shall have no personal or other form of contact with the subject child pending further order from the court. Okay. So it looks like he did lose custody of a child. It looks like his the mother was granted sole custody of the boy.
Yeah.
So definitely probably a lot of animosity when it comes to that. Okay, y'all. So I don't know. Comment down below.
Yeah, I do not know.
Comment down below, y'all. Y'all heard about the persons of interest. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Seems like this guy has a reason as well to want to have revenge upon her.
Yeah. So the strongest thing that we have on him is motive.
Yes, he has a motive.
He has motive, and he has a record, didn't he?
Right.
So he's the only one who has a record of domestic violence. He has military experience and all of that.
I had a hard time when he came out with, of course most of them do, with, dealing with what happened in the Navy or whatever, and getting back into real life.
Yes,
or
yes.
into regular life,
Yeah. So he could have definitely snapped out and did something to Harmony.
And he has more motive. He has more motive than the last suspect, because her last suspect, Andy, being as though I don't think Andy would have wanted to kill her, though, because he loved her. If anything, he probably would have wanted to kill Peterson.
Yeah. It could have been that whole fit of rage thing, like.
It could have been a fit of rage, yes, and it just happened because she wasn't listening to him or something.
Yeah.
But it don't seem like they had a talk right before then for him to get upset like that. I mean, I don't know, it happened so quickly, like, just came up like right after the husband fiance left to get the gifts, that out of the blue somebody just came and killed her. Like, it seemed like it was somebody that already was so upset with her,
right,
that he came to do that specific thing.
I definitely agree. I'm trying to see. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna have to go back over this. I'm gonna go back over this. I'm gonna take some thorough notes, even though we just basically discussed our notes, things that I would say. But I wanna just comb through it just a little bit more, make sure I got everything, understanding who these guys are, and trying to find our whole. Because our first things first is, let's not forget, we have to prove Bones' innocence.
And this is the information that we have to prove him innocent?
Yes. Like, after this, all we have is, like, the map, the evidence photos, the news clippings, and the autopsy report. Okay? So, I'm feeling like we might have to take a good look at some other stuff. Like, y'all, I just discovered this in the photo envelope, so I'm assuming that you look a little closer at the pictures. So I would like actually need a second to go over the pictures, I feel like, because my answer could be anywhere. Also, this is the evidence, which is the ring, diamond engagement ring that was supposedly stolen off the body.
Look around her body when you use that, of course.
Okay, yeah. I will. Then also,
my mom has mentioned as well.
when we come up, when I see you in person, you'll have a chance to analyze these photos as well and see what's going on.
Because they gotta crackle down to, okay, we need to know. Well, we know, but we need to look back at Bones, exactly where he was at a time. These timestamps mean something.
Yeah, definitely. And then looking at the map from where he was to where he was going, comparing what they said to what we know, what that officer said to what we specifically know about him.
Right.
So yeah. So take some time with it, y'all. Look at, listen to that information. We'll go back over the evidence photos in part 3. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where we at with it. Let me know. Are y'all solving the case? Where y'all at with it? Y'all already have y'all suspect, and I'm late. So let me know how y'all feel, y'all. We are on this case so much more closer to cracking down on it. We just definitely was thrown for a loop because I didn't know it was so many persons of interest in this case, and we have to thoroughly comb through each one so we can get to the bottom of this and we can make sure we are 100% accurate with our information. So professional.
Yes.
Anyway. Anyway, guys, comment down below what you think, who you think, who's the murderer here. Let's talk about it. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already, y'all. Honestly, y'all, first of all, we tried to set the mood with the lighting, and I think it put us all down. Like, I'm ready to hit the hay. I was already up in these files all night, you know, combing through stuff, looking through. I've been back on the crime scene. I went back to the crime scene, took a couple extra photos. You know, I've really been on this case, so I'm a little tired. You know, that's why you see me drink a little Red Bull and all. Sideline Mom didn't even make it over there. She down for the count. I'm just happy to have Mariah Blue with me right now at this point.
Yep, I'm still here.
Yes, this is the late night case solving. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for stopping by. Until part 3, y'all. We're going to try to get a part 3 a little bit earlier for y'all. But until part 3 and until next time, guys. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.